Welcome into Penny Bloom, episode 40.
How you doing?
It is I, Colton Robertson, joined by none other than the magnificent Tavares Pennington.
Hello.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. I'm doing good.
We recorded our last episode about an hour and a half ago, 2 hours. Finished that up.
About.
So what have you been up to since then?
Yeah. Well, man, I went home. Then I came back.
That makes sense.
I just couldn't go too long without you. I was just I got to get back.
We had that pod fever.
Yeah, that pod fever. We couldn't even do one. We needed another.
We needed to do two.
Yeah.
And we'll do two tomorrow. Then we'll do two the next day. And then we will do two the next day.
And bing, bang, boom.
Bing, bang, bop. Boop, bop. Today we are going to talk about An American Pickle. HBO Max premiered Seth Rogen's newest film just a couple weeks ago. And it's really good. I enjoyed it a lot. We're also going to do another To Protecc 7 Attacc. Why are you doing a sequel? I don't know. Pretty much nailed it the first time. That's a deep cut.
Yeah, it is.
And then we're going to top it off with our second review and analysis, or breakdown, whatever you want to call it, of Umbrella Academy, Season 2, Episode 2. Looking forward to it. But for this intro, there's been some controversy surrounding WAP.
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 By Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B. Fuck this, man.
Yeah, I don't.
That shit, it goes crazy, and it's just them doing them.
Yeah, no, and I mean, like, I understand the criticism or whatever, but the response is just going to be the same every time, and like, it's probably the smartest thing Cardi B has ever said publicly when she was like, I mean, yeah, we could not talk about this every song, but
you could not listen to it.
Then
if you don't want to listen
sell.
to it.
It's like, so long as it sells, we're going to keep doing it.
And it's like the shit where people are like, "Oh my goodness, I watched that video and it is disgusting." It's like, okay, don't watch the video. Dumbass.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if you don't like the video, it's probably not for you.
Yeah. Definitely. And I mean, like, I don't really like the song that much myself, but it's like, I'm not
going to be going back and revisiting it all.
I don't need to like it. Like, I don't think it's for me. Like,
it's just not.
It's not what it was made for.
I mean, fuck it, man. It's dude rappers out here rapping about their dick game all the time.
Oh, yeah.
How many women they fuck? Why can't women talk about their WAP? If they want to,
because apparently only men can do it for them.
That's fair. I'm kidding. It's not fair. It's fucking disgusting. Men suck. Bottom line. As a man, I feel confident I can say this.
I speak for the men.
Not all of them. For the most part, it's a rough one. Told you I started that Hall Pass movie, right?
Yeah.
That's just about a couple of normal dudes, and I got about 15 minutes into it, and I was like, God, I fucking hate these guys.
You're like, I fucking hate normal dudes.
I hate normal guys. It's the worst.
Like, are we all like this?
They were just normal middle-aged white guys, and I'm like, I've known a bunch of dudes like this, and I was like,
You're like, this is not my vibe.
It ain't. Not anymore. At one point, I was like a 13-year-old little hormonal monster. I was like, oh my gosh, women are so pretty.
That's when you discovered it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Puberty, just like everyone else. Well, it's going to be a good show. Sorry about that. And, enjoy it.
You must.
You must, indeed. Let's roll that tape. What do you say?
Believe we should do that.
Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dads, listening to Tomcats, talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
So we're going to start today with An American Pickle. Good movie.
Yeah.
Good movie. What'd you think? Overall, what thoughts?
I mean, it was I think it was what we wanted for these sort of comedy movies, which was kind of short and contained, not very, not overly complex, just something that's enjoyable to watch.
100%. I agree. I mean, I love Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Everything he does, I'm going to eat that shit up, This dude doesn't make, I mean, some may say he makes bad movies, but I don't.
No.
I always find them enjoyable.
No.
Always. And I have a tough time finding any complaints about it. It did a really good job. I don't think we'd had a movie yet. We've had TV shows, but I don't think we've had a movie yet that directly addressed cancel culture through Twitter.
Yeah, no, not yet, and that'll be important because the way that it's portrayed is really like this, like
a tool.
It's like a tool. It's like people know exactly how to get under everyone's skin.
Oh yeah,
and it's like just getting a way to get someone to say the wrong thing, and then you're done. You're toasted.
And then you're done.
Your
cake. So. We're going to start with a little bit of a summary for you. This is via the movie spoiler. Herschel Greenbaum is an Eastern European immigrant who travels to America with his wife Sarah in 1919 to escape their dreadful home life. While working at a pickle factory, Herschel falls into a vat and remains preserved in the pickle brine for 100 years. He wakes up in the present day and discovers he has a great-grandson, Ben, who is a freelance app developer. Herschel's old-fashioned way of thinking gets him and Ben in trouble with the law, which leads to them falling out since it ruins Ben's chance of getting funding for an app he's been working on. Herschel decides to start a pickle business by gathering pickles and salt from a dumpster and creating brine with rainwater. The pickles are a big success with New Yorkers, but Ben continues to sabotage Herschel's business by getting him to reveal his bigoted way of thinking. And that was one of the... that was a good portion of the movie. Him trying to sabotage him.
Oh yeah, no.
Because first he reported him to the health department.
Yeah, he did 3 different.
and then he was like, "Yo, you should sign up for Twitter. I think that'll be great for you." And then that didn't work. And then he asked him his thoughts on Christian prayer in public schools.
Oh my god!
So, if you believe in Jesus, you're a stupid idiot. God.
In God we trust.
I want a big office.
I
want very big office.
Very big office.
This man was hilarious. I mean, Seth Rogen's...
how could he not be?
I mean, Seth Rogen's phenomenal.
Yeah.
When all of New York appears to have turned on Herschel for his statements, Ben tries to help him cross the border to Canada. But after Ben confesses that he was trying to sabotage Herschel knocks Ben out and assumes his identity, causing Ben to be deported back to Herschel's hometown, Slupsk. Slupsk.
That doesn't
what
exist,
a shitty name.
Doesn't actually exist, does it?
I doubt it, but I mean, if it does...
Slupsk.
That's a town name right there.
Terrible.
When Herschel goes back to Ben's apartment, he finds out that Ben was making his app in honor of his late parents. Boop, bop.
Aww.
That was sweet. That one got me a little bit. Herschel goes back to Schlupsk to reconcile with Ben and bring him back home, and they decide to go into the pickle business together. An American Pickle.
An American Pickle.
What were some parts in that movie that kind of stood out to you?
I don't know. It was just I liked obviously how he was just going around basically sabotaging his pickle business.
Yeah, that was half the movie.
Because and it makes sense because it's what's that introduction going to be to the world after 100 years in a vat of pickles? And for him, it's just mountains and mountains of red tape, essentially.
Pretty much.
Socially and literally. And so it's that's that's definitely something that's markedly different from 100 years ago. It's
oh, dude.
How fucking constraining the world just naturally is.
That's true. I mean, this man, his biggest worries in his life, and I mean, they showed his life at the beginning of the movie when he was in Schlupsk. Didn't look like he was having a great time. Let's be honest. Digging ditches. He finds a woman. She has
Killing
all
rats.
teeth. She has all of her teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Top row and bottom row.
Mm-hmm.
He makes sure to mention that.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite parts of the movie was at the beginning when Herschel and his wife go to the bog.
Mm-hmm.
and they like tell each other their dreams and stuff. And his wife is like, "You promise not to laugh." And then Seth Rogen, or not Seth Rogen, they're both Seth Rogen. Herschel and what was Ben?
Ben.
Herschel and Ben go to the same bog when they're in Schlupsk, and he's like, "Can I tell you something?" He's like, "What? Promise not to laugh." And I was like, "Oh, that was a cute little callback." I really enjoy stuff like that. But yeah, it was a well written movie too.
It was a real well written movie. Like, I think that they were really focused on just kind of hitting the high points of like internet culture and how it's changed the world, and then being like, oh, family still exists, and like that's kind of like the underlying theme that supports the characters, which is a good one. I think, you know, can't really complain too much about it.
Yeah, and it was cool to see Herschel getting a feel from Ben of how the world works now, while Ben also had to address some things from his past because of Herschel.
Yeah, right.
It was like, it made him, like when he goes to the, when he's in Schlupsk later and he starts to pray with them. I thought that was a cute little moment too.
Yeah.
Where he came into his own, and he was like, okay, like maybe this is something I can get behind. I didn't realize this was all about community and stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes organized religion can be a good thing.
Sometimes.
And because he was really like, that was his thing. His app was for ethical businesses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it only makes sense for someone like that to be against organized religion.
Exactly. Yeah.
And things of the such.
But it's like, that's just also the trend of the world. It just has been kind of disregard those things that they used to hold as sacred, just because like there isn't any immediate value to it to a person like Ben. That's
true. It's very true. And that is becoming more and more common just amongst people.
Yeah.
Very, very fucking funny.
Yeah, it is definitely.
Some of the when his assistant quits.
Oh.
She's like, "I appreciate you for this opportunity and thank you for the college credit." Then she like walks into the picket line and grabs a sign and is like, "Down with Herschel, down with Herschel." And then she mouths, "I'm sorry."
Yeah. No, but I thought that was a really important point too, on just how people, like how two-faced people will be,
and flip-floppy
because of the internet, or because of just like what everyone else is doing.
I think it was also a comment on like the extremes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she was completely on his side, and then when she felt the pressure to switch sides, she was like, "Okay, well, I'm all in on the other side."
Yeah.
I'm not with you at all.
I'm not with you. No.
Which, I mean, he did say some pretty despicable things.
I mean, of course,
I wouldn't be with him. I wouldn't have been with him in the first place.
You would think people would be understanding, though.
Yeah,
like in reality,
he was from 1919. Like,
oh my god,
I hate to say it's a different time,
because
like, yes, it was a different time, but that doesn't excuse people being assholes.
Yeah.
But like, this dude literally came to 2020.
Yeah. of all years. Of all the years. Like, god damn. Yeah, you know what he was in for. Anybody wakes up from that long ago, they would just...
Yeah, if anybody wakes up in a vat of pickle brine after 100 years,
they would definitely be outspoken.
They're in for...
Everybody would be like, "Oh my god, look at what they said."
Oh my god, Ronnie.
They'd just be like, "Yo, why is that shit so controversial?"
I liked the part where people... is it pickles that he's selling? Or is it hate? Some people think he's a despicable man. Others think he's a champion of free speech. Which is like extremely accurate to everyone who says shitty things.
And then they're like, "Well, he's into religion, so like I like him there, and that's basically why I support him."
No, she was like, "Deadass, like, he says some pretty risky things, but he's religious, so I believe him."
I believe. I believe him. That's the depth of a lot of people's thinking, especially when it comes to social media and things that disperse that way.
For sure. And I mean, dude, it was just a good movie.
It was.
Shall we get into the rating of it?
We shall.
So you know how this works by now. If you're with us for the first time, though, we have a comedy scale. We rank that 1 to 10. We have an action scale 1 to 10, plot scale 1 to 10, visuals 1 to 10, emotions 1 to 10, and cast and crew 1 to 10. We add these all up, we divide it by 6, and that is our total for the movie's rating. So, on a scale of Cats to 10. Cats, Jack and Jill, Not Another Teen Movie, School of Rock, Anchorman, Scary Movie, Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man, Sorry to Bother You, Elf, and Friday. On a scale of Cats to Friday, how funny was An American Pickle?
Probably about an 8. About an 8. Right on par with
Sorry to Bother
You.
It's a different kind of comedy.
Definitely.
100%.
Definitely.
But I was talking to you about this off mic earlier about how, like, it was just overall, it was situationally funny, too.
Yeah.
Everything, like, the entire situation was funny.
Exactly.
There were a few laugh-out-loud moments, for sure, because it's a Seth Rogen movie, but also with a Seth Rogen movie, the scenario is going to be wild as hell.
Yeah, the scenario is just going to be like...
This guy was in a vat of pickle brine for 100 years. And I like how they completely skipped over the scientific explanation, because there isn't one. They were like, here's a doctor saying official scientific things about it, and then Herschel voices over, he's like, and then the doctor said bunch of things that very scientific, and I do not understand.
And everybody seemed to...
and then everyone was like, that makes sense.
Yeah. Because they're like, how could this happen? And he's just like, oh, well, it can happen like this. And they're like, oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, all right, fair enough.
No, fair enough. Like that actually happens.
We give this an 8 on the comedy scale. And that's a strong rating. I don't think we've had anything that's rated at an 8 on any level.
Have we? We haven't?
Not a single thing has rated an 8 in the 3 movies. Now 3 movies with An American Pickle. So, congrats to An American Pickle for climbing up the scales for us.
Yeah.
Action. Obviously, not a lot of action
Not
in this
a lot
movie.
of action.
But Herschel could throw the fuck down.
Herschel does do violence.
Herschel will do violence to you. This is promise. Yeah, Herschel, he could throw down a little bit. It was a little freaky, and I like the way he squared up. He was like, put him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a interesting cat, but not a lot of action. Therefore, doesn't rank relatively high on our Cats to 10 scale. We got 1, Cats, 2, Transformers Age of Extinction, 3, Chappie, 4, Tokyo Drift, 5, Suicide Squad, 6, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, 7, John Wick, 8, The Matrix, 9, Bourne Identity, and 10, The Dark Knight. Whereabouts does An American Pickle fall for action?
We have placed it at 2.5.
Because it's still better than Transformers.
Still better than Transformers. Still better than like for all the fucking money they put into the CGI and all of the special effects.
Herschel squaring
Seth
up was
Rogen.
Better than that.
Yeah,
was better than that.
Honestly, though,
that's what we're saying.
That was a fresher action scene than anything in that movie.
Herschel will do violence. If Optimus Prime would have stood up and been like, Optimus Prime will do violence. Maybe I'd be on board.
I'd reconsider. But until that happens, I gotta go with Herschel.
So, on the action scale, American Pickle gets a 2.5. That's an 8 and a 2.5 so far. Vastly different scores. We have emotion next. The emotion elicited in this movie was surprisingly potent.
Perhaps, yeah.
The last 30 minutes hit a lot more. They were a lot more meaningful than I anticipated them to be by the first hour of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he definitely took the time out to make sure that there was a wholesome sort of ethic underlying the whole thing.
Yeah, for sure. So on a scale of Cats to 10, we have 1, Cats, 2, Life Itself, 3, The Spectacular Now, 4, High School Musical 3, 5, American Honey, 6, The Fault in Our Stars, 7, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, 8, Bridge to Terabithia, 9, Boys in the Hood, and 10, Fruitvale Station. On a scale of Cats to Fruitvale Station, how emotional was An American Pickle?
We put it, and honestly, in hindsight, I feel like we might have given it a bit of credit, but on par with A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood at 7.
Well, see, the thing is, with the emotion at the end of this movie, it was heartwarming, and that's what it reminded me a lot of the way I felt during A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Yeah. So that's why I felt like, you know what, 7's probably appropriate for this. And I mean, there was some other things in there about how Ben's parents had died, and he ended up naming the company after them. Boop Bop.
Yeah. I mean, those are great, but it's just like I feel like A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood had a lot more intention with what it was like. That's the fair. Emotion that it was trying to convey. Because it is still a Seth Rogen movie.
Well, hey, Seth Rogen can be deep. Ain't no reason for Seth Rogen not to be deep.
That's fair. But we put it at 7.
We put it at 7. I can recalculate right now if you want to move this bad boy down to a 6.
It's fine.
No, it's a 7. So, put it on par with A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Therefore, gets a 7, which is 0.5 less than Jojo Rabbit, by the way. Visual aesthetic, next. On a scale of Cats to 10, 1 Cats, 2 Fantastic Four, the one from the 90s, 3 X-Men, 4 Inglourious Bastards, 5 Thor Ragnarok, 6 Mid-90s, 7 Guava Island, 8 La La Land, 9 Interstellar, 10 Parasite. On a scale of Cats to Parasite, where does An American Pickle fall for you in visual aesthetic?
We gave her a good 6.5.
We were like, sure, we'll throw it between Mid-90s and Guava Island.
Yeah.
Feels about right. The shots at the beginning were too interesting and intentional not to have gotten some recognition from me. I liked those a lot.
Yeah, those are cool, definitely. It was just a good, like, they did a good job with how they made this one. You could tell that there was a talent behind it.
Oh, 100%. Well, no, wait, I might be thinking of the wrong movie. Oh, no, the guy who directed this is the cinematographer from most of Seth Rogen's other movies.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, it ultimately added up to a director who was big on what he's doing behind the camera.
Yeah.
Which you'd expect of a director.
Mm-hmm. I hope so.
So, on a scale for visual aesthetic, American Pickle gets 6.5. Plot. It was alright.
It's all right.
It was solidly written.
Yeah.
Pretty concise. But, it was just alright for me.
Yeah, it was just all right. You know.
On a scale of Cats to 10, Cats, Behaving Badly, Paranormal Activity, The Rise of Skywalker, I, Tonya, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Breakfast Club, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Moonlight, Blind Spotting. On a scale of Cats to Blind Spotting, where does An American Pickle fall for you in plot?
I think we got to give it a good 5.5.
5.5, falling right between I, Tonya and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Because, let's face it, it's not as good as Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
No.
It's just not. It's still good, though. As we've said before, we grade on a pretty heavy curve.
Yeah.
Our top like 6 to 10, 7 to 10 are all pretty fucking awesome on all of these.
Oh, yeah.
And lastly, cast and crew. This one hurt a little bit because it was basically only Seth Rogen.
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's like,
I mean, that's not terrible.
I appreciate the talent behind it. He did play the two main characters,
Mm-hmm.
and that's impressive.
Right.
But we go based off the strength of names in the cast and crew, and when it's just Seth Rogen back there, it's hard.
Yeah.
But still good enough to beat Cats, Hulk, and Straight Outta Compton. I'll tell you what. Cats, Hulk, Straight Outta Compton, Rush Hour, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Pulp Fiction, Iron Man 2, American Hustle, Ocean's 11, Wolf of Wall Street. Where did American Pickle fall?
3.5.
Yep, right there between Straight Outta Compton and Rush Hour. Not quite as good as Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, but better than everybody in Straight Outta Compton.
There you go. Not quite. And I consider them being better than Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan, but I couldn't quite do it.
I mean, Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker is just too iconic of a duo.
Yeah,
frankly.
right. Honestly, Seth Rogen is a pretty iconic duo.
Seth Rogen and Seth Rogen is probably the most iconic duo, if we're being for real.
Then why don't we rank it like that?
Because we can't give every movie a 10 out of 10.
Should have given it a 10. Should have given it a 10.
We can't give every Seth Rogen movie a 10 out of 10 in every category. It's just not fair.
Fair.
I mean, even though it's probably deserving. So, we add it all up. We divide it by 6. The total comes to 5.5. But guess what? We round up here.
We round up.
And it's a 6 out of 10. That's a 6 out of 10 right there. And that'll be the third movie in a row that is rated a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
And you might be saying, your guys' scale just always comes to 6 out of 10, but you're wrong. You see, these movies were just, they were solid.
Yeah, they're solid.
They were solid, that they weren't great. Therefore, 6 out of 10 makes sense to me.
It makes sense. When we see that great movie, it'll change it.
It'll get that bump.
It'll get
that bump. I'm certain of it.
It'll get her.
But
every movie is average, which on average makes sense.
on average, things being average does make sense. But yeah, An American Pickle, the third 6 out of 10 in a row. Jojo Rabbit, Ad Astra, and American Pickle, all on the same level for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
These are all right there for us.
I can agree with that.
But it is interesting the way the rankings have come out when you break it down to the point. Jojo Rabbit, Ad Astra, and American Pickle. I find that interesting. Shall we move on to the next segment?
I believe we shall.
We shall. Next segment. And now, it's time. You know, like the guy who does the announcements at UFC and like boxing matches.
Yeah, you sound nothing like him.
No, I don't. But you know, it's the thought that counts.
It's the thought that counts.
We're here to do 2 Protecc 7 Attacc.
It's that time.
It is that time. So,
I know everyone was waiting on it.
yeah, you know the rules, people. You have 2 of these to defend you. The other 7 are coming to destroy you. Starting with our most powerful, we've got 1 Jean Grey. We've got 2 Batmen.
Batman.
We have 5 Clifford the Big Red Dogs. We have 25 Baby Groots. 75 Denzel Washingtons. 100 Bill Nyes. 100 Bobby Shmurdas. 150 Crackhead Kennys from his appearance on The Wire. Not The Wire. Power.
The Wire. That would have been great, though.
That would have been great if Crackhead Kenny could have made an appearance in The Wire as well as
Power.
And then lastly, 350 Little Bills. That's the one.
Okay, so I'm definitely taking Little Bill. Little Bill's got to be one.
Off top, you think so,
You
right?
think so.
350, that's overwhelming. Total on this board, there are 808 characters.
808.
That's absurd.
Okay, so
I'm thinking Jean Grey is overwhelming.
Jean Grey is overwhelming. You got to think about what she did in The Last Stand.
The Last Stand. That's the scary shit right there, where she was just making people disappear.
But you got to also think
hand.
about that. That's not her complete power. Like, if you've read comic book Jean Grey,
Bro,
like she's like
absurd.
an actual phoenix. Like
she is the single most powerful person when she's infused with the
I think
Phoenix
people have like literally said that.
Universe.
And so when you weigh that against our number 2 here, Batman.
Bro, Jean Grey's making light work of Batman.
Okay, but listen.
No, listen. Jean Grey is making light work of Batman.
Can Batman and Superman beat Jean Grey?
No.
Why not?
Because she's Jean fucking Grey.
But can Batman and Superman working together beat Jean Grey?
I'm sure they could. You see, because that's how things
case,
work when they work together. They beat whoever they're trying to fight.
Then you got to think 2 Batmen with anyone else with considerable amount of power. Take 25 Baby Groots.
That'd be dangerous.
If he strategized that out,
I like that you're latching on to Batman here because I wanted to get some Batman commentary. I really think Batman and Baby Groot would be a problem. I was thinking that earlier.
Baby Groot would be a problem.
Griffin, my little brother, came down here earlier and was like, man, I don't know how good Batman will be, and I was like, dude, Batman and Baby Groot. That's a problem.
Groot. Yeah, no, it is a problem. And then that's not even considering Batman and Clifford.
Okay,
5
Clifford
Cliffords?
the Big Red Dog. Can you imagine those just 5 Clifford the Big Red Dogs just fucking running into battle? Jean Grey on their back, just like fucking.
That would be fucking amazing.
Yo, but also, we have a similar situation that we did last week with another sort of the Army of the Dead with the Dragon and Game of Thrones situation, where if you had Little Bill and the Cliffords on opposite teams, this could be pretty fucking funny. This could get pretty entertaining pretty quick.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
But yeah, Clifford's dangerous. He could just stomp on all the Little Bills.
He could do a lot of work. But what if you had Little Bill and Clifford?
Now we're thinking. Imagine just per Clifford, I don't know, 350 divided by 5?
Nah, I don't know. With Bobby Shmurda, Batman, and Jean Grey all on the same team.
Bobby Shmurda is a dangerous one there.
Bobby Shmurda is the dangerous one, yeah, definitely. I might honestly need to take the 100 Bobby Shmurdas off the board.
I mean, he's been selling crack since like the 5th grade.
Yeah, like, he's got he keeps that thing on him, so it's like... It's just he's that distance force. He's kind of like
he was like Tory Lanez last
Tory
time.
Lanez, yeah. He's just like Tory Lanez. Honestly.
That's why we also gave him 100.
Yeah, but we gave him less because it was 150 Tory Lanez. Because Bobby Shmurda is probably...
No, it was 100 Tory Lanez, 150 Patrick Starrs.
You're right. Damn. Yeah.
But we also got 100 Bill Nyes. Think about the shit this dude could create.
I think Bobby
I bet
Shmurda's
100
beating
Bill
Nye.
Nyes.
Versus 100 Bobby Shmurda's Bill Nye wins?
No.
No, okay. Yeah.
No, Bobby
That's what I was
Shmurda Bobby Shmurda bodies Bill
here's,
Nye
here's the
1v1.
real question. 100 Bobby Shmurda's versus 75 Denzel's.
Denzel just wins that out of respect.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true. He definitely taught Bobby most of what he knows.
In theory.
In theory, he Blue Magic. He was all on that. Frank White,
Oh my God. X.
X.
For sure. I mean, Denzel's a dangerous force.
75 Denzel's, 25 Baby. Nah, that wouldn't work.
There's a part in the Harley Quinn show I'm watching with a character named Clayface in the DC universe who's an actor, and someone goes, hand over your weapons, and he tries to give him his actor's guide book, and he's like, sir, that's not a weapon. He goes, well, when I act somebody to death, you will be at fault. That's Denzel.
When I act
that's Denzel here.
Death.
When I act somebody to death.
That's funny.
But yeah, to be honest, the least two compelling ones for me are Bill Nye.
Yeah.
And
Crackhead Kenny.
Crackhead Kenny could be a problem, though. You remember the way he walked around that corner?
Yeah. Yeah.
You telling me that man don't walk around 150 corners like that?
But
and you're
okay,
able to
but who
terrify?
couldn't he couldn't convince Batman? He couldn't convince Jean Grey. He might be able to tame Clifford. Baby Groot, they would probably get along. Denzel, he couldn't get past Denzel. He's top sergeant.
Oh yeah, I mean, one Denzel takes out two Crackhead Kennys easy.
Oh,
and that's exactly the ratio.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Crackhead Kenny and Bobby Shmurda, 250.
That's dangerous right there. I mean, but then think about it.
Because
Then you still got 450 between Little Bill and Bill Nye on the other team.
But
no matter what,
but
in this one, numbers is a problem.
Yeah, sure. But when you think strategically, Bill Nye and Little Bill aren't distance fighters. Bobby Shmurda is a distance fighter. He's a distance. And you telling me I got 100 of them?
That's a fucking freedom fighter right there.
Oh yeah. So you would need someone who can take out massive amounts at once and keep them at bay. 100 Bobby Shmurdas and 5 Cliffords.
Talking about keeping a distance and keeping them the fuck back. Give me Jean Grey. One Jean Grey, bro. So you don't even need to be up close to just be like, boom, wave of a hand, you're fucking dead.
All right, Jean Grey's probably got to be on the team. Like,
she has to.
Yeah, you
like,
can't.
Like last time we were like, okay,
Jean Grey
Rick
being a better
Sanchez.
option.
Like our number one club right now is Rick Sanchez and Jean Grey. And Jean Grey is like 50 Rick Sanchez.
Did we record? Did you pick Rick last time?
No, I picked John Wick and Dolores.
Oh yeah,
and you picked John Wick and Tory Lanez.
Okay, I definitely got to have Jean Grey this time. I'm not gonna lie.
And I think I have to as well. But maybe I no, you got to have Jean Grey. It's impossible. You have to have Jean Grey.
She's too powerful.
So we are each guaranteed to have a Jean Grey. But the other one, that's up for debate.
Yeah,
I don't think you can take Batman. The 3 versus 805 numbers just doesn't bode well.
It doesn't bode well at all.
3 versus 805 is not a move. And I was tempted Jean Grey and Clifford, but 6 versus 802, it doesn't sound much better.
So basically, you're saying anything below basically Denzel is out the question. Jean Grey,
not necessarily.
Jean Grey and Baby Groot couldn't do it.
That's the thing. Baby Groot could be a problem, potentially.
Baby Groot though.
It is Baby Groot, but Denzel, Bill Nye, Bobby Shmurda, Crackhead Kenny, and Little Bill can't grow their limbs. He can just stick all of them from a distance because he's a fucking tree.
That's a fair point, but you got to think.
There's just so many of the other ones.
Baby Groot's working with wood. Bobby Shmurda's working with lead.
Ticonderoga, that's the only time you hold your lead. I mean, you're right. You know what? You motherfucking right.
And it's 100. So you put.
I think the only way to go here.
4 Bobby Shmurdas on 1 Baby Groot.
I think the only way to go here is Jean Grey, Bobby Shmurda. I think it's the only one you can do.
So now we got to consider who can beat Bobby Shmurda.
350 little bills.
No.
No, there's 350 of him.
Fair. I think they could get to him, but what offensive capabilities do the little Bills have?
Well, they're doing all they can to protect you.
Exactly. So once they get to Bobby Shmurda, if Bobby Shmurda doesn't pick them all off before then, what can they do to him?
I don't know, man.
Like,
I mean, think of like, okay, do you remember in Game of Thrones, all of these come back to Game of Thrones because the Army of the Dead is an endless supply for these 350 little Bills and 150 Patrick Stars. That's just exactly what it would be like. So I'm thinking, you remember at Hard Home when the lady like turned around and there was just like a bunch of kids in front of her?
Yeah.
And she just crossed her arms and then those kids ate her?
Yeah.
I think that's what Little Bill would do to Bobby Shmurda.
Oh my gosh.
They'll just attack and eat.
All right. So we've been forgetting Denzel. Denzel probably holds that heat too, because if it's generic Denzel,
too, so
if it's generic Denzel and we get to choose which Denzel we're working with.
Dangerous Training Day.
Training Day Denzel's the first one that pops in my mind.
I mean, and Malcolm.
No, Malcolm wasn't militant. He
he
wasn't himself militant. He was
an advocate for the militancy.
He was an advocate for militancy, but he wasn't like a.
I don't know. You seen that picture of him holding a rifle up by the window?
Oh.
It's a pretty iconic photo.
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
It's a pretty dope ass photo.
What's that line? Like Malcolm X with the rifle.
That's a J. Cole line.
J. Cole line from
Malcolm X at the rifle, climbing steps up the Eiffel. Barely hope to be the best. That's a off D's.
Oh yes, yeah, okay.
Cannot fuck with me just yet though. Say I need a close thing to me. Say la vie, my vocal range will be.
Hey.
That shit's hard.
Nah, we don't need a preacher though. We need that action.
We need Training Day.
Yeah, we need Training Day. We need Training Day Denzel. So Jean Grey is 75 Training Day Denzels. 76. 808 minus 76.
So 700 something. That's all you need to know. It's
like
700 something versus 76.
730 something, but I think.
So they have, something. It's a 10-to-1 ratio here, just about.
Yeah.
That's steep. And that's with 75 Denzels.
Can each Denzel Kilton of the other ones we give? I don't know.
But Jean Grey could.
Jean Grey could.
Jean Grey.
But then
see the thing is, I don't think it matters who else you pick.
Yeah.
I think Jean Grey's just too powerful. That like no matter what, you win.
Well, you got to think. You got to think.
In The Last Stand.
You got to counter for Batman. 2 Batman.
I'm not
Batman.
I'm not worried about Batman.
Listen. Batman and Bill Nye.
Now we're on to something.
Batman and Bill Nye working together with 5 Cliffords, 25 Baby Groots, probably 150 Crackhead Kennys, and 350 Little Bills. You got 102 masterminds and like 400 foot soldiers. 450 foot soldiers. 500 foot soldiers.
Jesus fucking Christ. This is a problem.
That could be a problem.
But are you telling me you go Jean Grey and Batman?
No,
absurd.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is we have to strive, like whoever is with Jean Grey alone couldn't take 2 Batman, 100 Bill Nyes, 500 foot soldiers.
500 boots on the ground. Okay. This ain't no team deathmatch. You go down, you're down for real.
Right.
Okay.
So who has to work with Jean Grey then?
This one is so much harder than the last one.
Yes.
It's crazy how much harder this one is than the last one because we for sure have one locked in from the jump.
Right. It's just a matter of picking the next one. Because it's like you go with the Bill Nyes. 1 Jean Grey, 100 Bill Nyes. Oh, no,
I don't need strategy if Bobby Shmurda's packing that thing.
That's true. That's
okay?
true. And you just still got 1 Jean Grey, even if strategy wouldn't really matter at that point.
Fuck it all. Jean Grey versus all of them. 1 versus 807. Okay, time to lock in your answer.
Okay.
Who are you going with?
I don't know.
Go with the gut. First thing.
First thing, I gotta take Jean Grey. Bobby Shmurda.
It's Bobby Shmurda.
It's
Bobby, bitch.
It's Bobby, bitch. I was really stuck between Bobby Shmurda and Lil Bill.
That's what I'm thinking. I didn't expect it to come down to Jean Grey, Bobby Shmurda, and Lil Bill. I mean, I knew Jean Grey would be in there, but
yeah.
I mean,
because
but
it's like you got to take the numbers away from Batman and Bill Nye.
You really do.
That's
you
how
can't,
you. That's
you
how
can't
you
have 500 boots on the ground.
You can't let them do it. And so you take 350 of those out. That you got 100, 200.
But like you said earlier, what's Lil Bill gonna do?
400. You got a little over 400 foot soldiers if you take Jean Grey, Lil Bill. But that also puts Jean Grey and Lil Bill
you
at
know what?
350.
You know what I'm thinking? You know what I'm thinking? Jean Grey has telepathy. She can, if she wanted to, direct the Little Bills.
All right.
Now we got a problem. Now we got a problem with the Little Bills. I'm going Jean Grey and Little Bill.
She does the same thing with Bobby Shmurda. Lil Bill can't wield a weapon.
You don't know. You don't know Lil Bill like that.
That blast back.
You don't know Lil Bill
back.
like that.
You know, no, he like 2 feet. Blast back, blast
he
back.
He like 2 feet. Gun's half his body.
He's shooting everybody in the kneecaps.
Alright, fair.
75 Denzels on the floor just shooting.
You know, okay. You want to? We're going Training Day Denzel with a Jean Grey, like 50-50 at the wheel. Now we talking, okay?
Nah,
I'm going 1 Jean Grey and 75 Training Day Denzels.
Okay, I can respect it. That was probably that was up there too. That was probably my third choice.
No, I'm not going. I can't do it. I can't commit.
You got to commit.
Okay, yeah.
I think I'm going Jean Grey, Lil Bill.
Jean Grey, Lil Bill, huh?
Jean Grey and Lil Bill.
The direction of the foot soldiers is important to me.
It is.
But I like your idea of when she controls Bobby Shmurda.
Yeah.
I got to go Jean Grey, Bobby Shmurda.
Okay. We just switched.
We really did.
You're like, I think I'm going Jean Grey, Lil Bill. I'm like, I'm thinking Bobby Shmurda.
I mean, it just had to be done, though.
It had to be.
Both of our lines of reasoning were so reasonable that we each convinced each other to switch. Do you realize how fucking awesome that is?
Yo. Only on Penny Bloom.
Only. But yeah, my final answer, 1 Jean Grey, 100 Bobby Shmurdas. That is 101 versus 707.
And I'm going to go 1 Jean Grey, 350 Lil Bills. So that's 351 minus 808, which is, I don't know.
It's 500 something.
Here, let me see.
No, wait, it's 400 something.
808 minus 351, 457.
351 versus 457. I've got 707 versus 101. I'm the 101.
Wait. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I think I might have you beat.
Oh, we talking head to head now? We talking what goes down? Jean Grey and Bobby Shmurda versus Jean Grey and Little Bill?
Yeah. Why the fuck not? I have your ass. Actually, I might lose that one.
Those Jean Grey versus Jean, like, see, that's the thing. The Jean Grey versus Jean Grey, like, cancels each other out, and they, like, both just, like, implode on impact.
Right.
So now we're just talking Little Bill versus Bobby Shmurda. Who gets that?
Bobby Shmurda, I can't even lie.
That's true.
But
they don't face each other. This is just this is just a hypothetical.
This is just a hypothetical.
As if the whole thing wasn't already hypothetical.
No, this is completely real.
No, we are paying them to make this happen. But yeah, I got to go Jean Grey, Bobby Shmurda.
We have our answers.
We do indeed. Is it time for the Umbrella Academy?
I believe so.
Next segment. Season 2, Episode 2 of The Umbrella Academy. This was better than the first episode for me.
Definitely. There was some, like, there's story progression. It was just easier to get interested in.
Yeah, I was more highly engaged.
I thought you were just gonna say you're more high.
Well, not a lot of difference, but it was really enjoyable. It was. I mean, we got some serious story development. We got some. I like their involvement and their centralizing the plot around the Kennedy assassination.
It's interesting because it's like how pivotal of a moment was that for Americans? Like, everybody's like, what if JFK never died? And for real, what if JFK never died?
Well, I mean, yeah, like, there's just no fucking way to know.
Like, would he still be president?
Maybe.
Fucking maybe.
In the Watchmen universe, Nixon was president for like 5 terms.
Wait, for real?
Yeah, and then Robert Redford was too. The actor Robert Redford.
Why?
Why is Donald Trump the president, man? I don't know.
These are the questions.
But yeah, I really, really enjoyed the episode overall. I got some notes here. Kind of want to hit the high notes.
Hit the high notes.
I'm gonna hit the high notes.
Hit the high notes.
So, some of these are just straight up quotes, and the very first thing I took down for my high notes was, I had one last week that farted all the way into the oven.
It happens.
And it has sometimes
all
when you're
the way
working
into the oven.
when you're working at a morgue.
Hot buns.
You never know what might happen when you're working at a morgue. Maybe bodies are just farting all the way into the oven.
Possibly, probably.
My next note was talking goldfish head, all caps, because there was a human body with a goldfish head on it that was talking.
To process that. I was just kind of like wanting to disregard the fact that there was a fishbowl in the place of the head. I didn't want to think too much into it, and then I realized
about halfway through the scene, I've already figured it out by this point, and then Tavares goes, "Oh shit, the goldfish is talking." like yes, the thing on its shoulders.
yeah.
I mean, it makes sense though. Why would the goldfish be talking?
Why would the goldfish? I thought it was just where it was.
It just happened to be there.
Yeah, I was just like, dude, it must really fucking like that goldfish.
It was like a more sophisticated version of that character from Megamind. Did you ever watch Megamind?
I think so, but like I don't.
There was a dude with a fishbowl on his as a head and a fish on the inside. That's what it reminded me of. Well, because it was a fishbowl with a fish inside as a head.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
My next note. Luther is Mr. Ruby's body man, the gangster who shot Lee Harvey Oswald. So the reason I took this down is because last episode we were wondering exactly what Luther's job was.
Yeah. And
now we've learned he is the body man of Mr. Ruby.
He's plan C. If everything goes to shit, at least they will still kill that motherfucker.
Yeah, he's just. I mean, and it's cool. Like, even that sort of involvement. They got the guy who killed Lee Harvey Oswald as a character in the show. Like, that's just.
It's interesting. It's inventive. It's definitely a new sort of story concept that I don't think I've seen before, which is probably why these comic books blew up.
I need to read the comic books now.
Yeah, I've heard.
I'm highly intrigued.
I've definitely heard they're good.
My next note was Luther is forced to throw out a guy who was pushing too hard to make a deal with Ruby, talking about the Bolsheviks and how the communists are already here taking over.
Yeah.
And that guy is Sissy's husband, Carl. Which, He sucks. I mentioned that last episode.
Yeah. He does suck.
He very much so does.
Said he was going to work, went to get a drink. Relatable, but, still bad.
I mean, it's not as bad when you're a 21-year-old who's skipping, who's not lying to his wife,
And his kid.
Yeah, Jesus, man. But my next one was a direct quote again. It's Lila talking to Diego, who I love them. They're my favorite. Your fly's undone. Diego looks down. Gotcha. What is wrong with you? I love that part. The cops are looking for them, driving right by, and she's like, your fly's down. And he's like, the fuck? What is wrong with you? Such a weird time for that.
Such a weird time. She's a weird girl.
And then Vanya and Luther make eye contact, and Vanya just moves on. And it was in this moment that I realized, oh shit, Vanya actually lost her memory. She wasn't just using it as an excuse to not explain her past.
Yeah.
Which is what I thought was happening.
Yeah, no, I was kind of confused on that at first, too, because, my immediate thought when they're like, oh, she doesn't know where she's from, I was like, oh, she just didn't want to be like, yeah,
I'm from the future.
I'm from the future.
Which I would have understood if she was like, I can't remember shit.
You can't really explain that sort of situation because you can't explain it.
Yeah, they'll put you in a mental hospital like they did Diego.
Like they did Diego, yeah.
But, yeah, I was surprised to see that. Interesting development to the story. It was like they disabled Vanya for the first several episodes of the first season, and now who knows how long she's not going to know who she is.
Yeah,
in the second season. So,
yeah. Did she forget her memories
in the first season?
Yeah.
Oh well, she kind of blocked some stuff out, if I remember correctly.
Oh.
And she I can't remember. She didn't have. She was forced to keep her powers hidden too.
Yeah.
So she's got a pretty shitty. She had a pretty shitty childhood.
Yeah.
As all of them did under this alien dad they had.
Mm-hmm.
Guy's an alien, which I learned from a YouTube video. Feels important to have mentioned that.
Yeah. No, definitely. Otherwise, we'd just been like, "Damn, that old man can fucking fight."
Dude, that man can beat some ass. But then got another quote here. Who's Diego? Imagine Batman, then aim lower.
And that is honestly probably the most head-on assessment of Diego.
Oh, there's never been a better one. My next one, another Lila and Diego one. I love Lila and Diego. You are an open book written for very dumb children. Lila says to Diego. Their back and forth is very refreshing for me.
It is.
It's the romance that we needed from the show that wasn't provided by Luther and Allison.
God, that was so bad.
And we'll talk about it every episode. My next note is fuck the police.
Yeah, the police are weird. They act weird.
Yeah, and them, accurate to the times, regardless of the time you're in. And, disappointing.
Disappointing.
Just disappointing.
Just
their storyline is just too fucking real for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Every time I watch it, I'm like, fuck. This is real shit.
No, real shit. That's what they did. Quite literally.
Yeah, it's... But no. I do like that this leads to Klaus and Ray meeting in prison.
Yeah.
Or in jail.
Yeah.
And Ray lifts him up and is like, you know what, man? You gotta keep pushing ahead.
You gotta keep going.
That is so wise, man. I fucking love Klaus. He's my favorite.
Don't go
chasing waterfalls. My next note. Love that Klaus has been spreading the word of peace and love, likely through TLC lyrics. Told the man, don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to the rivers and lakes that you're used to. That is so wise.
So wise. He's like, yeah, okay.
My next note, all caps. What does their dad have to do with the Kennedy assassination? Holy shit, this is great. That footage was cool.
Footage was cool.
Because I saw the umbrella and I was like, oh shit. And I was like, who the fuck would be back here who had the umbrella? And then you got a clear look and I was like, oh, duh. Yeah. Their dad's younger self.
Yeah.
Why did I not think he would show up?
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
It does. It definitely does. And I'm like, now I'm even more intrigued in how all the fuck this shit happened.
100%. I'm very excited to see what happens with that storyline because last storyline, the dad obviously was a very integral part to how they were raised and explaining how they became them.
Yeah.
But everything involving him, I was just kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
I could take or leave the scenes, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be a lot more attentive watching these because there's a lot of mystery shrouding this shit now, which I dig. Next note. Luther the Feds.
Luther the Feds.
Pulled up on Vanya with his finger on the trigger in his back pocket. Come on, man. Enter the situation a little more calmly, okay?
Yeah, no, I don't know what was going on with that. Luther just seems like he's just kind of off. Like, he's having, like, his rebellious phase 20 years too late. Like,
yeah. It's like, dude, you're a grown man. Get your shit together.
You're a grown fucking man. Like, yo, stop being so brooding all the time. Like,
well, and I do get it, though. You know, he was sent to the moon by his father who didn't even have a mission for him. He just sent him to the moon.
And said, send soil.
Yeah, like samples of the rocks. Like, yo.
Man became a moon rock expert and gets back and he's like, did we change the world? And he's like,
the
world has changed.
The world has changed since you've been gone, but you did nothing to cause it. You've been on the moon.
Yeah.
So I feel bad for the guy, but like, man, don't come at Vanya like that. I love Vanya.
You
I
gotta get over it,
but it's
bro.
because I love Ellen Page.
You're in a whole...
I'm impartial to Ellen Page characters at all times.
Oh yeah, no, they're always. She's
I
a
love
good
her.
Actress.
She's the best.
But he's got to get over it.
For sure. Next note. Who are these weirdos? Our guess is aliens. The only reason I gave stock to this idea is because what you said earlier, or what you showed me earlier in the video.
Oh yeah, that
his dad was an alien.
Yeah,
or their dad was an alien.
And if they're hunting down people with powers, it seems like they're trying to reclaim sort of something. They have somebody is tipping them off as to the appearances of particular people with superpowers, like so Vanya. That they can just eliminate them, but like almost like systematically, like they should be purged from here. So it seemed like they just wanted to kill them.
But it's interesting that they got a letter from the Swedes.
Yeah, it is weird.
Like, so like maybe they're not aliens and they're hired by some other foreign government. Maybe they're Russians. Like I'm how the Bolshevik have infiltrated the country, like Carl was saying.
I'm wondering if the you know that what are they called? The organization or whatever.
What?
The organization, the Adjustment Bureau. Yeah,
okay.
I wonder if the Adjustment Bureau is involved too.
Well, they showed that flashback at the beginning. Or not flashback, but what happened with that character. She was what was her name?
She got demoted? Yeah.
Yeah, she got demoted. So there's something happening there, but I don't know exactly how it's going to tie in.
Yeah, me either.
So I'm assuming I'm not assuming, but it's certainly a possibility that that's their involvement, is those characters there. Because they did eliminate Hazel, who left the Adjustment Bureau.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true.
And they're going for the Umbrella Academy, who fucked with the Adjustment Bureau big time.
Mm-hmm.
So, probably Adjustment Bureau.
Yeah.
But also, aliens. Next note. Getting some air in a closet?
In a closet?
Again, Lila and Diego, just their back and forth is romantic as hell. I love it. It's cute. Oh, that part, my next note. Oh, Lila thinks she's going crazy because of how absurd Diego's life is. I felt so bad for her then. She was like, I can't be seeing this shit.
Yeah, no, it's like, how do
like
you
they'll
explain
send
this?
me back.
You're like, no, like you all thought I was in there because I was saying that the president's going to die. No, the president's literally
going to die.
I'm saying this with the most reasonable head I could possibly have.
And I liked his comparison to yogurt.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, just because we all like yogurt, right? Do you understand yogurt?
Do you understand yogurt?
No, it just is.
It just is. Yeah, you know, it gets there.
So that's what this is.
And you just
it's like yogurt.
You just got to try to fix it.
I like them. And then my next note: Allison and her husband are sweet. I'm very worried about him. He seems like the first to go right now.
Oh yeah, no. He also seems like he would.
He also seems like the best guy in the show.
Freak out when he finds out what her, like, that she's hidden her powers or something like.
Yeah.
But
because she did the whole "I heard a rumor" thing twice, and then he asked her about it, and he was like, "Why did you say I heard a rumor last night?" And she's like, "Huh?" And he's like, "You said it twice." So like, I know you meant the shit.
I know, and I know exactly what like. It's like I definitely have like been like caught in something, and they ask a question, you go, "Huh?"
You have no other response,
Yeah.
and then like you can't help but you like kind of smile. You're like, "Huh?"
Yeah.
Like okay,
like,
fine.
I heard exactly what you said, but I'm going to say
I'm gonna put off my answer for a little bit, just buy myself a little more time.
Just buy myself a little time. Yep.
My next note: Klaus's followers have "Hello, Goodbye" tattoos on their palms. Fuck yes,
Yes.
I love that.
He really
I
got
love
a
Klaus.
cult going.
I'll say that every week. I fucking love that guy.
He's the guy.
My next note: Vanya and Sissy for the win. Now that is what I like to see. I like the connection there.
Yeah,
Dig
no,
it.
they definitely got it good.
So far, the romances they've sparked at the beginning of this season are stronger than anything they did in season 1. And my biggest critique of season 1 was the lack of romance that was compelling.
Yeah.
And so I'm already looking forward to 2 separate storylines potentially with the end of this episode. I don't know that will involve good romances. And I mean, it just makes sense, you know. She's kind of despising her husband. She's taken in this girl who'd completely lost her memory, and she's like nursing her back to health and stuff.
Yeah.
Just it adds up.
It does.
And I dig it. Then my next note, all caps, 5 found young Pogo. Didn't expect that.
Didn't expect young Pogo.
That's what's cool about this show too, is I never know what to expect.
Right.
The show's so out of left field that it's always going to be wild, but it's always going to somehow make sense.
And that's always why I want to keep watching it.
Exactly. Like this, it's just too good. My next note, Diego versus his dad. This shit is lit. All caps.
This shit is lit.
Didn't end too lit though, as my next note is, oh damn, homie got stabbed.
Yeah, he definitely. I was like, damn, I hope he doesn't die. Like that wouldn't.
It's interesting because they've gotten out of worse shit. You'd think they'd be able to prevent a stab wound. I mean, Allison literally got her throat cut last season.
That's fair. He'll survive. He'll survive.
Especially with 5.
Like, damn, like why he dispatched him, took him. He didn't even get a question out. Like I was like, I want them to like they're just gonna fight. Like they're not gonna be like, hey, dad.
Well, he didn't realize it was his dad until the very end. Remember, because he went up to hit him. He saw his face in the light, and he goes, "Oh shit, dad!" That's what made him hesitate, and that's why he stabbed him.
I would have known that though.
See, like me and you both immediately go, well, that's his dad, right?
Yeah, like he's wearing.
Maybe that's just more obvious to us. I mean, because he isn't our dad who, like, obviously, you're probably not expecting to see your dad from the past fighting you.
Yeah.
But they were investigating his company and stuff. Like, you got to be a little bit more logical about these things, Diego.
See a guy that looks like him.
You are an open book written for very dumb children. It was a good episode.
It was.
I feel like that sufficed as an entire breakdown.
Yeah,
that's gonna have to be our method from now on.
Okay.
Let's do Under the Umbrella. What moment from this episode reminded you of you?
What do you say? When Klaus like came in, like that whole scene where he comes into the house and he's like, no, what does he say? He's like sleeps or like sleepy or something like that.
He's sleepy.
Yeah, or like he was like, it's like sleep, something that referred to sleep time.
Sleepy time.
Yeah, but just like that whole scene, I think. Where he breaks the window. He's like, the key was under the mat, right?
The key was under the mat, right? Sleepy time.
Like, hey, hush. And
my part is also Klaus, so cool. 2 episodes in a row. Both of us were Diego last week. Both of us are Klaus this time. Mine is giving advice through song lyrics, where he told the guy in the jail cell, don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to the rivers and lakes that you're used to. And I definitely quote things to people that don't know their song lyrics.
Oh, yeah. I definitely. That's funny because that's kind of what mine was last week.
Yeah, it kind of was. Basically. But yeah, this was a great episode of this show. Like, really one of my favorites I've watched ever of this series, because there was just so much shit out of left field that I did not anticipate.
Yeah.
But yeah, next week, we'll be back with episode 3 of The Umbrella Academy. And what movie are we going to watch?
To be determined.
To be determined. All right, we'll tweet it out. Is it No, we'll tweet it out. We'll tweet it out.
We'll tweet it out.
We'll tweet it out.
Yeah.
But yes, be expecting another movie review next week. Be expecting Umbrella Academy Season 2, Episode 3. And we'll do another surprise segment. Something random. Something in the 2 Protecc, 7 Attacc type feel thing, but not quite that. Maybe that. I don't know.
Who knows?
We'll see.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I am Colton Robertson, joined by none other than the magnificent Tavares Pennington. And this has been Penny Bloom. Peace, love, and bloom. Praise Keanu Reeves.
Praise Keanu.
Bye, bitches.